Hi everybody, welcome back to the studio. New episode starting today. We're going to look at the Regency Gent that I've been promising you. I'd just like to say thank you to all my new Patreon supporters. Your support is very much appreciated, so thank you for helping me develop these videos and work towards getting some better production and maybe some better editing techniques and things, a bit more time I can give to the videos. I'd also like to give a special shout out to Eric. A few months ago I went to my daughter's school for Aspirations Day, and I did a little bit of a talk about what I do for my job, and I took some paintings in and everyone was so receptive, and I talked about my YouTube channel and picked up a few followers, and I believe Eric is still watching my videos, so I'd just like to say, Eric, thanks for your support, mate, really appreciate it. And if ever you want to come down to the studio, maybe have a word with your mum, get in touch, and I'm sure we could show you around and give you a bit of a tour. So let me know in the comment if that's something you'd like to do. But now we are on with this guy. So I've done a few tests and stuff, so yeah, let's get started. So here he is, the Regency Gent, as he is known at the moment. This has come to me from a private client and has this interesting label on the back that said it was repainted by Mr. Williamson in 1869. So we know that there is overpaint on here. You can see the milky, opaque, fairly amateur looking paint that's across his face, his cravat. Not sure about his jacket, but I think the whole thing has been overpainted at some point. Here's that label again. So repainted by Mr. or Senior or Junior or something Williamson at Arley. So we know that this has come from Arley Hall. The client has got some history for me. It's a nice stretcher. It's got these nice angled stretcher keys in there. Quite good quality. So there is... The thinking is there's a quality portrait behind this overpainted one that we see here. It looks like it's on a good quality canvas or linen, and it's not in, the stretch is not great, but you can see that the condition of the tacking edge is very deteriorated. So it's been damp, it's been stored badly, it's coming away from the stretcher bars, but we're going to address that later. The first thing we need to do though is really assess if it's worth spending all this time and money on this painting if there's nothing underneath. So I'm going to be doing some tests first just to see what we'll remove and make sure there is a painting worth saving underneath here. So these are my first swabs, and I can see straight away the flesh tones are much brighter underneath. You can see that there's a brighter white paint underneath that cravat, and again around his ear you can see the opaque overpaint that is removing. So first thing I'm going to do is just put a temporary support rather than go straight in for a reline or some invasive structural treatments. I'm just going to create a temporary support now for the painting, just so that I can do my clean on top without spending too much time and effort if whatever is underneath is not worth saving. So I'm just removing the stretcher keys for now. I'm going to get these out, and then I'm going to put like a foam covering and a backing board just to support the canvas while I do some of the cleaning. Sometimes it can be a little bit tough, so I'm just gently opening out the canvas there just to ease the removal of the key. So I'm just going to move that to one side, and then I've got some, it's just basic foam, like you'd find in upholstery or something. It's very thin. Sometimes I use this when I'm lining an impasto fabric or I want to protect the paint surface. So I'm just going to cut this to size now as an insert, just to support that canvas. Going to place this in here now, just gently fit it to the edges, and then I can put the card on top, and this will just give me that support I need for when I start cleaning the painting from the front. then when I flip this over, you'll be able to see that I can just apply a little bit of tension or a little bit of pressure to that face of that painting, and it's being supported underneath by that foam, and that will allow me to do my clean, confident that I'm not putting the canvas under any undue stress. That's not a long-term solution, it's just a short-term solution while we find out what is happening underneath this overpaint. So I've got a mixture on there that I'm confident is just removing paint. It's coming off very opaque, and I'm just using a very small cotton swab at the moment because I'm just paying really close attention to what this mixture is doing and what it's removing, and making sure it's consistent with with what I'm expecting to come off there. You can see the flesh tones that are overpainted are very dark and opaque, and then you can see the glow of the original painting underneath is a lot warmer and brighter. There's a lot more tone to it. But again, I'm just going to be going very, very carefully at these initial stages, just making sure that I'm removing the overpaint. And if there is a varnish layer still intact underneath there that hasn't kind of degraded, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not removing any of the original paint as well. So you can see straight away that line that I've worked on and the glow of the original portrait coming through straight away. So as I said, there is a little bit of history with this painting. My client who bought this is excellent at research and finding things out about paintings before he buys and after he buys as well. So according to the dealer, this was a portrait of Patrick Sampson Lloyd, the eldest son of Sampson Lloyd, the 18th century iron manufacturer and founder of Lloyd's Bank. It ended up at Arley Hall as Patrick's son Sampson Lloyd Jr. later married the sole daughter of the Zachary family, whose house it was. This is apparently still the home of the Zachary Lloyd family, descendants of this marriage. So it had come into the dealer's possession some 10 years previously as part of a job lot of 19th century pictures and furniture in various states of repair that he had purchased from the family. These had been stored for many years in the old stable block at Arley Hall. Since then, Patrick Lloyd, the poor old Regency Gent, has been languishing frameless in the back room of his shop just outside of Luton, totally forgotten. The thick gesso gilt frame that it was originally in was totally rotten and had crumbled apart as he loaded it into the van. So on the back of the picture, you'd seen there was a handwritten label on the back stating that it had been repainted by someone called Williamson in 1896. This and the state of it suggested it had been damaged. The repainted nose area looks out of proportion and is in need of a facelift. Unfortunately, in this case, it looks as if the lift had broken down. Whoever Mr. Williamson was, he wasn't a painter judging by this effort, which is terrible. He also said that he was told by a member of the family selling this it had originally been slightly damaged and cloudy, but then badly restored in 1896 by a local amateur artist and afterwards had been immediately confined to an attic by their disappointed great-great-grandmother, obviously being relegated into the stables over the years. The family was always told that there was probably a half-decent portrait hiding underneath this overpainting, and they also mentioned some other information that this was painted when Patrick was around his late 30s to 40 years old at about 1808. So with that in mind, and given that he came from a wealthy London-based banking family in Regency times, it seems highly unlikely that Patrick Lloyd would engage a painter who was not the best. So you never know, there could be something good lurking underneath it. So that's where we're up to. We have got this brilliant bit of background history, and that is what's given us the strength of character to remove this overpainting and find out how Patrick looks underneath. So let's continue. Right, I'm just going to have a closer look now at the portrait. This is a loom and it's a magnifier, and it just allows me to get really close and personal with this portrait and see exactly what's happening. So I'll very primitively try and show you what's happening here. So I can see the lighter warm glow of the original paint and then the overpaint sat in recesses. So I'll check another area. Bear with me. Again, I'm trying to assess that there's greyish or brownish overpaint underneath his eye socket there. So I'm able to see what I think is original and what's overpaint. And here, them lips are definitely overpaint, and there's a paler tones underneath, and the shadow underneath is overpaint as well. You can see how opaque it is. It's just got no glow to it whatsoever. So this loom is a really good little tool just to kind of help your eye discern layers. Again, we've got the warm orangey flesh colour, and then that red opaque overpaint sat in the recesses of the canvas. So I refer to this loom quite a lot. It just gives me more confidence to know that I am removing the overpaint and can see the layers as things progress. So I've gone back to the smaller swab now, just because this area is quite complicated. I've got the nose, the nostrils, the lips. I've got his top lip and the little area between his nose and his lips. And it's quite, again, difficult to discern what is overpaint and what is original. So I've got the stronger solution, and I'm just going into that area now and just working out what I can remove from there and see what's coming off that swab. Those lips are disgraceful. I don't know what the person was thinking when they put that red paint on there, but I can't wait to get those removed. His nose is looking better now. I can see a highlight on the tip of his nose. And it doesn't look as piggy as it did. I'm going to see a bit more shape in his face. It's a little bit more modelled. So whoever did paint the original was a far superior artist to the person who overpainted on the top of the other. So again, sometimes I like to just do a broad pass over the whole face, and it gives me a more balanced view of what I'm actually doing. It brings everything into focus, and then I can again see, right, this is an area that needs to be addressed. So again, I've got my small swab out now. I've got the same strong solution, but I'm getting really down to what I think is that original layer now. There's lots of overpaint still sat in the canvas recesses, but I'm getting down to the base layer, and that's helping me discern which is the overpaint and which is original. You can see some stuff is coming off easier, some is still quite stubborn. And those lips so need to come off. I've just strengthened my solution now because I think I'm at the right layer, which would be the varnish layer above the original painting. So stronger solution now. I'm going to carry on removing all that paint that's stuck in the canvas recesses. So I'm pretty confident this is ground zero now. You can see the patchiness on the tip of his nose. You can see where it meets the bridge of his nose to his forehead. There's a big swathe of opaque. But underneath now, it's really becoming clear. This is the original painting. This is the layer that I need to get down to. So I can just crack on now and really start to remove this and see this portrait come alive. Right, so as you can see, we are excuse me, making progress there with the portrait. It starts to turn into a little bit of archaeology. So we've done that first pass, removed the obvious overpaint, and some of it removes really easily, and you think, okay, I'm happy with that, I know that's the overpaint, and then you've got to stop. And I get the loom out and have a look and think, right, well, what is still original and what is the overpaint, and go again. So there I just strengthened my solution a little bit, and I think I've found the base layer now around his nose and around his cheek area. I can see that that's original paint, but the trick is now not to go too strong and too deep, because I don't want to remove any of that, because I think it's been overpainted at a similar kind of period, or maybe not too many years after it was originally completed. So I'm going to tentatively carry on with that now and just see what else I can reveal. So yeah, bit daunting, always kind of a scary process when you're removing overpainting from an original painting. You've got to establish where the original paint is and what is new or fresh paint. So not as enjoyable as some cleans, but you can see already that he's already looking much different. And yeah, it is kind of exciting and scary at the same time to start to reveal him. So yeah, let's carry on. This is rewarding though. I feel like he's actually looking out of that portrait now for the first time since 1896. So what's that? 128 years he's been trapped under that layer of paint, suffocating, and I actually feel like he's coming to life now. I'm actually seeing that he's there. He's not trapped behind that mask. So this is great. I do really enjoy this bit now where I feel like, yes, we've got a painting underneath here and he can be saved. So just put him side by side again for you. Look at the difference in that nose and that cheek area and the tones of the colours that are coming through, and his lips. He looks so unsure on the right hand side and just wrong. So many wrong elements, yet his eyes now look balanced and his cheeks look balanced. The family must have been horrified when this portrait came back and it was painted so badly and just totally different to what they were given. So it does happen. I've had paintings come to me that have been restored and overpainted and come back a different painting to what was given. So no wonder this was banished to the attic and then to the stables. Right guys, I'm going to stop there for today. As you can see, he's already taking shape and looks like a different person altogether already. It's quite difficult to work out which layers are which, but I think I've got an idea now. What I'm quite concerned about is his around his nose area. I've got down to the actual original paint, but then when I'm cleaning in the socket of his eye, it looks like the eyes aren't original either. So they do look pretty fitting, but I do think there's some to take off on the eyes as well. So tune in next time. Please like the video, don't forget to subscribe, check out my Patreon page if you want some more edited, some ads, some without ads, and there'll be more stuff on there soon. But yeah guys, thanks for watching and see you soon. And look at that, wow, I think that is that blue background? I think we've got a blue background there and those lips look much better.